Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look at how we use the larger degree trend, in other words our DPs, WPTs and Elliott wave patterns on the higher time frame chart to be able to uncover shorter term trades in the direction of that large degree trend. And I particularly like to look at the DAX this morning because there's a great example of one of my favourite trade setups, which I call the Holy Grail trade setup. So let's start by looking at a 15-minute chart of the DAX. Now remember, our DPs are on the chart in advance, they're leading indicators. So I'm just going to put some white space on the right hand side here and just move the chart back to earlier today. There we go, it's a bit early today. So what we do is we look for previous swing highs and swing lows. So you can see here there was a swing high. If I place the decision point on, you can see that gave a resistance area, so I'll go back a bit. The market came down to here, we place another decision point on from here. And you can see how the market reacts at these levels beautifully. The market went up to that DP, came down to this DP, and then it was starting to rally back up again. If I move forward, you can see it rallied back up here. It actually went beyond the DP from here, but actually caught the high from this last pivot high. So when we exceed one DP level, which we did ever so slightly here, we go back to a previous pivot high, which you can see we had here, because this pivot high was above here. We place a DP on there, and it's pretty much an overlapping resistance area, and you can see this is actually holding the market as it's unfolding at the moment. I'm just going to take that white space off the right hand side and look now at some shorter term charts on a closer time frame. But I just wanted you to understand how we place these DPs on the higher time frame chart. We normally look at time frames between 3 and 5 times greater than we're trading. So if you're trading 5, 3 or even a 2-minute chart, you'd look at the 15-minute chart. If you're trading 15-minute Forex, you'd look at the 60 daily chart, you'd look at the weekly chart. Let's go down to the 3-minute chart and see whether we could have got any trade setups on this. And as you can see, the market actually reacted to these levels beautifully. In other words, the market went up and made a high at this 15-minute resistance area, came back down to this low here, where it made the low of the day absolutely this level absolutely beautifully. But remember that this level was actually on your chart in advance. It was here before the market even got there. The market then rallied up to this high here. I'll just tidy this up a bit by taking that first one off. Now just look at the pattern as it's unfolding up here. The market makes an initial rally up, it then makes an initial correction down into a ABC correction. You can see we have an ABC correction down here with the low right at the typical wave CWPT. The market then rallied up to this level, but look at this, it rallied in a lovely 5-wave sequence. So a perfect Elliott wave pattern where we have an initial move followed by initial correction unfolding as an ABC. This would be a wave 2. We then have the strong wave 3 unfolding and subdividing into a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern like this. But notice where the high came in here, not at any old place, but at our larger degree 15-minute resistance zone. And remember, this zone was actually on the chart in advance, so even before the market even got there, so even down here somewhere, you knew that that level was a potential resistance area and an area of where you want to be aware of a potential market reversal. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. So how do we uncover trade setups on these charts now? Well, we look to trade in the direction of the large degree trend. So after this support down here at the low of the day, I'll be looking for long trade setups. Now you can see the pattern unfolded brilliantly on the 3-minute chart, but there weren't any automatic setups. So I'll just clear that off. I'll have a look at another time frame, the 5-minute chart, and again there weren't any particular trade setups. And in fact, actually, if we put the Elliott waves on, you can see how we had the beautiful 1, 2, then the strong wave 3 there. Let's have a look at another time frame. I don't normally go down to the 2-minute. I only do that when you actually have a good indication of a large degree trend. And here you can see we had a TS3 buy setup. Now this is a very special TS3 buy setup because it came after the initial rally off an important low. We define that by being a low at a higher time frame support. The initial correction came down, which we've already seen as an ABC correction. This will be defined as a wave 2. So when we actually place the analysis on here, just like that, we are not aiming for our first target here. we're actually aiming for at least the typical wave 3 WPT, which is here. In other words, we are looking to trade this as if this is a potential wave 3. So just as we saw on the 5-minute chart and also the 3-minute chart, support at higher time frame support level, in other words the DP level, initial rally would be wave 1, initial correction unfolding as ABC would be wave 2. We're therefore looking to play a wave 3. And this is what I call the Holy Grail trade setup. Why do I call it that? Well, it's not because it has a high reliability or has a high percentage of winning. That's not important. What is important is because it trades the strongest and longest move in a completed Elliott wave sequence, which is the wave 3. The profits are much, much higher than the initial risks. Here you can see our position sizing kept our initial risk small, what we call one risk unit, and notice here how the profit would have been 5.3 R, or approximately 5.3 times greater than the initial risk. This is why this is one of my favourite trade setups in MTPredictor, and actually why MTPredictor was designed in the first place over 13 years ago, back in 2001, was because I know that in Elliott wave terms the best trade setup is off the end of the wave 2 to take advantage of the strongest swing, which is the wave 3. And of course this is exactly what our Holy Grail trade setup is designed to uncover. But can you see how the tools in MTPredictor allows you to do this? In other words, we went to our higher time frame chart to start with, we set our larger degree support and resistances from our previous swing pivots. Remember, these are on the chart in advance, so you are preparing in advance before the market gets there to get to these levels. We then look for the minor patterns or the minor setups in the direction of those support and resistance zones. So in other words, we're looking to be for a potential short trade off this DP resistance down into this DP support. Once support came in at this level here, we're then looking for long trades as the market was anticipated to rally up into this higher time frame resistance. We didn't get any on the 3-minute or the 5-minute, but because you have your scanners running on the 2-minute chart, you would then have seen this TS3 buy setup came in, and that unfolded absolutely perfectly. So in other words, once this 15-minute support came in, you were actively looking for the ABC correction and therefore buy setups in the direction of the uptrend, and therefore ready to take advantage of this particular trade setup. And as you can see, the result was a very nice trade of plus 5.3 R. So hopefully this has been a good result, a good example and a good video to show you how we use MTPredictor to anticipate the larger degree trend direction and larger degree support and resistance on our higher time frame charts, and then how we look to take trade setups in that direction, particularly my favourite, which is the first correction off the first move off the important high low. This is the Holy Grail trade setup, and as you can see has the highest profit potential, and that is why it's one of my favourite MTPredictor trade setups.